Track breakdown. Hi, I'm Dimble. I just released a new track. It's called Discovery and it sounds something like this. So the main idea for this track was to make this type of drum and bass that I grew up with, that you could call 2010s era drum and bass, even though this type of drum and bass started in like 2007, I think, maybe, I don't know. So I'll show you how I made track like Netsky or Krakota. Let's look at the intro. So the intro is really melodic. It needs to be like not too overcrowded because when you mix it, it needs to blend perfectly. So here I have a guitar loop that I chopped up. Then we have some piano chords. I think what matters the most in this type of track is the chord progression. Here it's in D major, which is really unusual in drum and bass. It's a scale that I like a lot because it's really uplifting in a way, and I like uplifting music. Then you have some super saws with the chords, but a more staccato. You can barely hear it. It's important to showcase the sounds that will be next in the song. Then what I like to add is big reverb vocal samples. Then we have this one that goes into panning. It will be useful later in the drop. And we have a bunch of effects to really set up the mood of the track, like some rain, some people speaking, some impacts. I also have some kick and snare that will be useful to show that it's a drum and bass track. And it's just getting some rhythm going. Then we have the build-up. Okay, so for the build-up, I will keep on having the chords, the piano chord. Then we have the synths, the super saws that I talked earlier. So for the super saws, I just use some EQ to hear the frequencies I wanted and now. If you want to do the same, just put up the EQ you want, then play the sound you have, and then just hear what frequencies and parts you want on now, and then either duck it or add it. Really, it's really easy. I used to think that it was really difficult to mix, that I needed the pro technique and stuff, but really just listen to every part of the sound. So then we start to have an harp that goes like this. It has a lot of reverb to make some ambient, and I like the sound because it sounds old school, but at the same time it's really tight and sharp. So it's basically something I made. I'll put the preset of this plug in the description down below. Then we have the main vocal chop. I think these high-pitched vocals really gives that 2010s feeling. So without the effects, it sounds like this. And I use Little Alter Boy to make it high-pitched. Then I use Deep Blue Crusher to have that bit of a... I don't know how to explain it, but I just give it that video game 8-bit type of feeling. Then I have some delay and some reverb. And then some filter and some EQ. Then it goes into a bus, so it goes into two separate ways. There's this way with the reverb and stuff, and there's another way with even more reverb to really make it shimmer through your ears. Then what do we have? We have some more vocal stuff. And to finish with the build-up, we have some effects. Then at the pre-drop, we have two things. The big reverb opera vocal thingy comes back from the intro. And then there's some drum fills. And that leads us into the drop. Okay, so I think back in 2012, what was really top notch was to use some original sample break like the Amen break. There is also the Supreme break and the Think break. So if you use it too much, it will sound really jungly. It's really good for liquid drum and bass, for example, because it will roll the track and give a lot of character to the drums. But in dance floor drum and bass, I think people kind of stopped using it and prefer more tight hi-hats and stuff. They use it as a layer, but not as a main element. So here I took the dance floor approach, that is to have something really tight. We have some hi-hat. Coupled with that, we have some more hi-hat. Different hi-hats, it will help to fill out the spectrum. Then we have some roller drums. And then we have a splashy break to fill it up. But I still wanted to have that 2010 feeling, so I layered two original breaks. There is the Supreme break. And there is the Amen break. You cannot hear it much, but it gives the character for the track. I think it's really cool. All the breaks together, it sounds like this. Then we have some kick. And there for the snare, it took me a while actually to get the snare right for this track. And originally I didn't want it to release it because of the snare, but in the end I managed to do it. Here you can see I have even 6 channels of snares that is down. So I think I just kept one snare. I thought that if I layered more snares, it would sound better. But in the end, it was better to have one simple snare that I treated right and that fitted the whole track. If something doesn't fit in the track, I prefer to remove it and go to something fresh. Together, they sound like this. Then we have more melodic elements. The piano is still there. There is still the vocal chop that you heard in the build-up. You can have all the elements in the intro and then they just combine nicely together in the drop. You still have the sidechain pad vocal. More voices. But what gives it the most 2010s vibe is the wobble bass. There's just a sine wave for the sub, and there's also this one. So what matters here is to control the filter here, and also it's important to have one oscillator that is 7 semitones up, otherwise it will absolutely not sound like the sound you want. Let me show you what it sounds like with just 2 regular oscillators. Just boring, you know? So it's better to have this, so it has way more characteristic. Also, I have another filter that makes it evolve over time. And it's linked to the filter here that makes it open up. As for the effects, it's really simple. I have some dimension and some EQ. Same as the snare that I was talking previously. In the end, it didn't sound like I wanted. It didn't sound like punchy enough. I just took a step back and thought, yeah, it just needs to sound good, so I'll just go back to the basic. And if you add everything together, it will sound like this. That's it for today. If you want to hear the full track, it's available on IT right now via the link down below. And if you want to support what I do, you can like the video. It will help with the algorithm. And of course, you can subscribe for future videos. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.